It's your boy Luke here for another NFL DFS video. It's time for our Week 13 value plays. And in this video, we're going to give you guys some of the plays that help save some salary and squeeze in some of those top tier stud options. With the season winding down, a ton of injuries that have opened up plenty of opportunity for some of the backups and lower priced players on the slate. To me, this is a little bit of a studs and duds type of week because of all this value that we have. Definitely have a little bit more salary to spend than we would in other weeks. So with that being said, let's hop right into it with our salary savers. First off, we have Tyler Higbee of the Los Angeles Rams. And in this matchup against the Jaguars is absolutely ideal. They've been one of the worst defenses in the NFL, particularly against opposing passing attacks. And with Higbee, we have somebody who's a little bit underpriced and also in a very juicy matchup. So at a 13-point projection, is projecting for well over 3x value. And again, Higbee's somebody who has really good upside. We've seen him have multiple touchdowns in games in the past. And while he hasn't quite had that splash performance to this point of the year, it would not be surprising if he went out and had a big game one of these next few times out. So really like him there at that price tag. It's really rare to find him in this $3,000 range. So somebody who brings a really high floor to the table, but again, also that 2 touchdown upside. Next up, we have Josh Reynolds, who used to be on this Los Angeles Rams team, is now over on the Lions. And now that he's simulated himself into this offense, is essentially acting as their #1 wide receiver. If you guys remember at the beginning of the year, they essentially stripped their entire wide receiver core, but running guys out there that we had never seen before. Josh Reynolds, though, was picked up off of waivers, has a ton of familiarity with Jared Goff, obviously played with him for 3 or 4 years out there in LA. And now that he's inserted into this offense, has instantly been productive. We saw him have 4 catches for 70 yards last week during Thanksgiving, also scored a touchdown. And this matchup against the Vikings is also tasty, just like it was on Thanksgiving. The Vikings don't have a very good secondary. They let up a ton of yardage in general. So if Reynolds is going to be a #1 wide receiver priced at $4,300, it is going to be too much to pass up. Next up, we have Deshaun Jackson, also somebody who's on a new team of late, that obviously being the Las Vegas Raiders. I really like this matchup against the Washington Football Team. They rank as one of the worst passing defenses in the entire NFL. The price tag is also really appetizable on Jackson. They're at $4,200. And obviously last time out in primetime, had that really big play. Showed that deep threat that he still is, showed that speed definitely still kills. And for me, with Derek Carr, is it only an upgrade in terms of his passer. He's somebody who loves throwing the ball downfield, loves having that deep play threat, and obviously is in this offense to try and replace Henry Ruggs. It seems like the perfect guy to go ahead and do so. If he's replacing that kind of production at a $4,200 price tag and a 13.8-point projection, makes him a very solid play. Next up, another guy on that Las Vegas offense, going to be Foster Moreau, the tight end. He's only at $2,700 and will be starting for Darren Waller, who has already been rolled out. For the same reasons that we like Jackson, this passing defense is absolutely atrocious on Washington. So I have him projected for just 11.1 points, which to be honest with you, seems a little conservative. This is somebody who's filled the void for Darren Waller in the past and played extremely well. He's going to get about 5 or 6 targets, going to see a ton of usage in the red zone. If he ends up scoring a touchdown, it could very well be somebody you need for an optimal lineup. But these last 2 picks, guys, are head and shoulders above the rest. First off is T.Y. Hilton, who is still priced way too low for the role that he has in this Colts offense. He has historically absolutely killed, and I mean killed, the Texans. He averages over 160 receiving yards per game against the Texans. And at this point, it's not a small sample size. He's had multiple 200-plus yard games. He's had multiple 38-plus point fantasy performances in regular scoring, not PPR, against the Texans before. A lot of people forget this narrative because he hasn't played much over these last 2 years. But this guy loves playing against the Texans. I don't know what it is. So at $4,400, I have him projected for nearly 16 fantasy points, which puts him well over the 3x point threshold. He's also somebody who's essentially acting as the #1 wide receiver on this team. And much like a Josh Reynolds, anytime we're getting a guy in this $4,000 range who's acting as the team's #1 wide receiver, I'm going to be all over it. I mean, he's much more talented than a Michael Pittman Jr. at this point of his career, has deeper play upside, and better route running in my opinion as well. People are putting way too much stock into the good games that Pittman Jr. had earlier this year without Hilton on the field. That was mostly due to the fact that the usage was there to go around. Now that they're all back in the fold, I expect him to be the alpha of that offense, and that's why I like him there at #2. And now at number 1, we have Jamal Williams, who's also playing against the Vikings this week, much like Josh Reynolds. And I absolutely love the fact that he's not only starting, but has been more efficient than DeAndre Swift to this point of the year. I've been a huge proponent of Williams for quite a few years now, ever since he was up in Green Bay. I thought that he was the better back than Aaron Jones, and I still think he's a better back than DeAndre Swift. If we take a look at the yards per carry numbers, they reflect that. He might not be quite as big of a threat out of the backfield as a passer, but as a pure running back, really like the upside that he brings to the table. So against the Vikings here, I do expect the Lions to get beat, which isn't great for Williams' workload. But if they're going to find success against this Vikings team, I do expect it to be with Williams, potentially Josh Reynolds as well. But both of them come in at really good price tags, especially Williams, who's just $5,400. In terms of points per dollar production, he has the highest number on the slate of anybody priced above $5,000. So really like to see that there. I have him at an 18.6 point projection. I'm actually getting relatively close to the 4x number, which you like to see. So Williams, again, somebody I think is a little bit underrated. You should get plenty of touches against this Vikings team. And if they keep it even remotely competitive, is absolutely going to smash at that price tag. That is all I've got for the Week 13 value picks. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments who you guys have as your favorite value pick this week. Obviously for me, really depends on the kind of salary that you have left on the table. If you have the $5,400 for Williams, definitely think you should go out and get it. But we've got guys like Foster Moreau at $2,700 that you can go way down the board to. Some of those guys in the $4,400 range that we like a T.Y. Hilton or Josh Reynolds. But go ahead and pick your poison. But again, let me know down in the comments who you guys got. Always love to hear from you guys. And as always, really appreciate all of your support here, for coming by and enjoying the content. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to have even more NFL content dropping throughout the weekend. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have our fades and sleepers coming out. And of course, on Sunday morning, we have our weekly DFS live stream. So make sure to stop by with any questions that you have. That will be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Of course, whether it's season-long fantasy questions, whether it's for DFS, lineup questions, whatever you've got, make sure to bring them by and I'll get them answered for you. A link will be down in the description to go ahead and set a reminder for that. But again, good luck with all of your lineups for this week, and let's get this bread.